Support for this podcast comes from St. Alphonsus Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinics, with physicians, physical therapists, and trainers who treat sports and performance-related injuries, with locations across the valley. More information on services and locations at stalphonsus.org/stayactive.
From Boundary to Bear Lake, Fremont to Payette, Oahe to Oneida, there are interesting people, places, and histories in all of Idaho's counties. And Idaho Matters wants to share it with you with stories from all 44 counties that make up the Gem State. Email your ideas to idahomatters@boisestate.edu or use the Talk to Us feature in our app, available on Apple and Android, and tune in each weekday at noon for Idaho Matters.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's Daily News. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. We have a number of stories to share with you this morning, including the future of solar power in our region. Also, we've got a story on the overall health of the labor market in Idaho and a new discovery of the West Nile virus. It is Wednesday, the 20th of August, and here we go. Unemployment in Idaho ticked up last month, now 3.7%. But broader labor market trends here are lining up with what's happening nationally. Troy Oppie breaks it down.
The unemployment rates might be the headline, but there are other factors that indicate the overall health of the labor market, says Boise State Assistant Professor of Economics, Rafael Ribas.
I think you have to pay close attention to job openings and layoffs rather than the unemployment rate, because it takes some time for the unemployment rate to show the real picture.
Data from the State Department of Labor show continuing claims in Idaho, ongoing unemployment, are trending higher compared to this time last year. The state did not make a data analyst available for an interview, but in a statement wrote that the mostly stable rate of initial claims and rising continuing claims do indicate a slowdown in hiring. Ribas, meanwhile, cautions that the boom of recent years in Idaho may be stabilizing into a rhythm that's more in line with the broader U.S. economy. Trends now, he says, are closer to what Idaho saw in the years before the pandemic.
The labor market is actually quite healthy, both in the U.S. and in Idaho.
But there is growing uncertainty, with the effects of tariffs just starting to show up and inflation still taking a bite out of balance sheets. Continued high interest rates mean many companies are reassessing their growth plans because it's more expensive to expand. Troy Oppie, Boise State Public Radio News.
Lori Vallow-Daybell is back in Idaho. She was extradited back to Idaho earlier this week. You'll remember that Vallow-Daybell was sentenced to a life in prison for the deaths of her 3 children and her husband's first wife. She was then sent to Arizona to face additional charges: conspiracy in the murders of her ex-husband and her niece's ex-husband. She was issued a life sentence for those crimes. Now she's back behind bars in Idaho. Her husband, Chad Daybell, was sentenced to death for the murders of his first wife and Vallow-Daybell's children. He is one of 9 people on Idaho's death row. Now to eastern Idaho, where the owner of a tax and payroll service in Fremont County has been arrested and charged with grand theft. Janelle Williams is the owner-operator of Williams Tax Service and Chester Payroll. She is charged with grand theft plus 52 counts of computer fraud. Prosecutors say Williams ran a scam tax service and stole about $56,000. She has bonded out of jail. If convicted, she faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. Health officials have confirmed West Nile in Elmore County. Officials confirming mosquitoes trapped within 3 Island Crossing State Park in Glens Ferry tested positive for the West Nile virus. 2 additional locations in Glens Ferry tested positive for the virus earlier this season. Officials say they have increased mosquito control efforts in that area. The sun is setting on a Biden-era solar power grant after the Environmental Protection Agency abruptly canceled funding earlier this month. Environmental agencies in Idaho say they want to challenge that decision. Jamie Geary reports.
Called Solar for All, the program set aside $56 million federal dollars for Idaho to build solar panel farms and give rooftop panels to low-income residences. The plan aimed to reduce energy prices by a minimum of 20% for 15,000 Idahoans from tribal, rural, and economically disadvantaged backgrounds. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin announced the funding repeal through a video posted to social media platform X this month, saying the federal Big Beautiful Budget Bill requires the cuts.
But the bottom line again is this: EPA no longer has the authority to administer the program or the appropriated funds to keep this boondoggle alive.
After the announcement on X, organizations across the country began receiving program termination letters with a 30-day appeal window. At the time of publication, the Bonneville Environmental Foundation, which was earmarked to receive Idaho's funding, had not confirmed it received a cancellation notice. Lisa Young is director of Idaho's Sierra Club chapter. She says the EPA's actions are illegal and the organization is considering a lawsuit.
To then take away a program whose whole purpose was to help save lower power bills for people feels really counter to what the administration is touting.
Young says work on the solar project halted around January due to uncertainty about federal funding. Jamie Geary, Boise State Public Radio News.
Bill Wojcik is over at the National Weather Service office. Bill, good morning.
Hey, good morning, George.
Bill, what can we expect today? I have to expect it's going to be warm again.
You are correct. Yeah, so today we're looking for a high in the lower 90s, officially 93 in Boise, but dry. Not expecting any thunderstorms today.
But breezy?
As far as the winds, yeah, a little bit breezy. Nothing too strong on the winds, but yeah, some gusty winds this afternoon.
Okay, what can we expect as we creep to the end of the week?
So looking at tomorrow, not a whole lot of change. Still pretty similar temperature to today, high around 93. Then as we get into the end of the week, the high pressure to our south builds northward. So we're going to see an extent of that heat from the south move up by Friday and into Saturday. So Friday, we're looking for temperatures in the mid-90s. And Saturday, we have temperature close to 100, officially 99 degrees.
Wow. And how about the first part of next week?
So as we get into early next week, it does start to cool down a little bit. So temperatures do drop, and that's because the high pressure I mentioned, the moisture from the southwest, we call the monsoon, that moisture starts to creep northward. Could reach us by Sunday, more likely by Monday. And with that, we're going to see some more clouds, even a slight chance of some showers and thunderstorms early to middle part of next week. But yeah, we're going to see a little bit of drop in temperatures, maybe even down to the lower or upper 80s by Tuesday or Wednesday.
I know the risk of thunderstorms always, there's a risk with wildfire with that. That said, we sure could use the precipitation.
That is true. So the downside is, yes, with the lightning, you could have new fire starts. The upside, moisture would be nice, and the cooler temperatures as well. We don't like too much heat.
Okay, he is Bill Wojcik at the National Weather Service office. Bill, have a good Wednesday.
You too, George.
And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We'll see you back here on Thursday. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. And thanks for listening.